Many of our supporters are first-time supporters, and I think we're going to, frankly, make a lot of the media's. All I'm saying, one more thing I would say I'm looking forward to is I want to have a conversation, because the historical pattern with the media is lie, lie, lie again. When proven to have lied, hide from accountability. From the Hunter Biden laptop story to the origin of COVID to the Trump-Russia collusion hoax that never was. I'm still waiting for one honest anchor in the mainstream media to just look their own audience in the eye and say, hey, I apologize. We lied to you, we got it wrong, and we'll never have this happen again. I challenge your guy, Alex, who likes to write, I would say clickbaity headlines to say at least you're from a new generation of leadership. Go ahead and step up, and maybe you can do it. Or maybe, Catherine, I bet on you sooner to do it. But somebody needs to actually, from the next generation, heal that divide of trust between the media and the people. I'll look forward to having that conversation with the media with what happens on January 15th. It'll be a surprise. They'll try to sweep it under the rug, try to minimize the importance of Iowa, and try to set the same narrative they have been. And I think that we need to use every occasion we have to at least rebuild trust with the American public to say, here's the narrative we've set, here's where we were proven wrong, and here's where we own accountability. That's what I would say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Consider it. It'd be good for you.
In 2019, Steve King said white nationalist, white supremacist.
According to who?
New York Times.
This was a direct.
Yeah, according to the New York Times, which he has challenged the existence of whether he actually ever said that to the New York Times. They have not produced one recording of it. And if anybody has provided one other eyewitness account that verifies whatever it is, I'm just not one of these people that treats the New York Times as the Bible. I'm sorry, it's not. They've lied to us for years about everything from the pandemic that shut down this country for the last several years to each of the last two presidential elections, from tech-suppressed information in the last one to what happened with the federal police state that tried to infiltrate Donald Trump's campaign in 2016 and stopped him from governing. To you could just go all the way back to the Iraq War, to the truth about what happened with the basis for the bailouts. You can go back as far as you want to the front pages of the New York Times to tell you enough to be skeptical of what you read. I've gotten to know a man, and if what Steve King tells me versus what the front page of the New York Times tells me about what he actually said, I'll take Steve King's word over what some fake reporter has said without an iota of proof attached to it. We do have a government, first of all, we have to acknowledge, that has lied to us systematically over the last several years about the origin of COVID-19, about the Hunter Biden laptop that we were told was false by 51 CIA experts and otherwise before we now know that it was true. You can go straight down the list, the Trump-Russia disinformation collusion hoax, all of it. Now we come to January 6th. The reality is we know that there were federal law enforcement agents in that field. We don't know how many. I think it's shameful. And if I may finish just answering,
well, let me
this is really important.
I'm going to go ahead and interrupt you here because
I know the establishment doesn't approve of this message. I know
that there were federal agents.
We should be able to talk about this.
You're saying that there were federal agents.
This is important to talk about. Why did they suppress footage of now what's been released, 200 hours of footage of shooting rubber bullets into that crowd, shooting tear gas into that crowd? You didn't see that before. You saw what the response was to that. Now you see footage coming out of actually rolling out the red carpet for Capitol Police allowing people in,
again,
right through the front door.
The vast majority of the footage
video evidence should have been released before, Abby.
Mr. Ramaswamy, the vast majority of the footage shows police officers being overrun
and I want to talk about one more
by
case.
violent
this is really important.
rioters. That's
I'm going to give you some hard facts.
Of it shows.
So here's what entrapment is.
Cherry pick.
I'm not cherry picking. If I may finish, Abby. If I may finish, Abby. I'm not cherry picking.
Examples.
To the contrary. To the contrary.
You know who cherry picked? You know who cherry picked? The government. That is what happened.
The government cherry picked 12 hours of footage when there was 200 hours of footage. So cherry picking was the government, not me. Release the whole thing. And let me just finish one thing too, because this is super important as a topic.
So
I think this is a civil libertarian issue of our time. Gretchen Whitmer's kidnapping. I want to be really clear on this, because it's the same issue in the same FBI, same even part of the FBI. 3 people who were in an alleged plot to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer were acquitted at the end of trial because it was entrapment. That is, government agents put them up to do something they otherwise wouldn't have done. Same thing with the Capitol Police. People letting them in freely. Many of those people then being charged.
Look,
the government cannot put you up to do something and then charge you for it. That's wrong.
I don't want to have
to. Wrong to the left or the right. I don't want to have to interrupt you. I really don't. But I don't want you to mislead the audience here or at home. I think they've been misled by the mainstream media.
14 people.
The mainstream media has misled them.
14 people were charged in that plot. A majority of them were convicted.
I said 3 of them were acquitted on grounds of entrapment. That's a fact. Dispute me. Was I wrong about that?
What folks need to understand.
Was I wrong about what I said?
I was not. What folks need to understand
3 people were acquitted on grounds of entrapment.
9 were convicted. A juror
apologized.
9 were convicted.
Yeah, but the 3 who were put up should have never got to that stage of a trial.
The January 6th
That's unacceptable in the United States.
Look, I just want people to understand. 3 people were acquitted. 9 people were convicted in that plot. But let me get back to our audience here.